Hello everyone, I'm your host, Dr. Anton, and let's talk more anatomy. This is part 2 of my General Info 4 video, so if you want to watch the first video talking about the head and related anatomy, click here. The second video will cover the thorax, legs, wings, and related anatomy. In the first part of this video, I mentioned that insects as arthropods have tagmata or sections. Insects have a total of 3. The middle section, called the thorax, is actually split into 3 distinct parts. Each part of the thorax is box-shaped and composed of 4 hardened plates, or sclerites. Going from the head to the abdomen, there's the prothorax, the mesothorax, and the metathorax. The sclerites of the thorax are also divided into the dorsal or upper, ventral or lower, and lateral or side regions, the notum, sternum, and pleura, respectively. These 3 sections can be further divided by adding 3 prefixes. The first prefix, pro, would be used for any area on the thorax that appears first or before. The second prefix, meso, would be used for any area on the thorax that appears in the middle. The third and final prefix, meta, would be used for any area on the thorax that comes after or last. For example, the pronotum is the first part of the notum, the mesosternum is the second part of the sternum, and the metapleura is the last part of the pleura. On all adults found on the mesonotum, but visible in true bugs, is a triangular region called the scutellum. This visible region is one of the ways entomologists classify insects. Let's move on to another part of the thorax. All insects have 6 legs. That is one of the 3 characteristics that define an insect. The legs of an insect are found on the thorax. Each segment of the thorax has 1 pair of legs attached near the bottom of the pleura. Each pleuron has a single pair of legs attached to it. The leg itself is split into 6 parts. Starting from the thorax is the coxa, followed by the trochanter, femur, tibia, tarsus, and pretarsus. In my last video, I talked about the head, but didn't mention anything about ears, noses, or tongues. So how can insects taste, smell, or hear? Well, the way insects taste, smell, touch, and hear are all functions of setae, or minute hair-like bristles that occur all over the body, but primarily on the antennae, mouthparts, and legs. I did not mention setae in my previous video because they occur all over the body, but they do occur on the legs, so I decided to include them here. The setae help the insects taste, smell, touch, and sometimes hear. There are different types of setae, and each type of setae does something different. There are chemosensory setae that can detect chemicals in the air, and that's how they smell, or they can perceive chemicals by direct contact with solids or liquids, and this allows them to taste. These tasting setae are usually found on the mouthparts, but they can also be found on the legs as well. Some setae detect touch by use of a ball and socket joint. The slightest movement of the joint stimulates nerve endings, which effectively allow the insects to touch. There are setae on the antennae that detect air vibrations, or they can hear through a complex structure called a tympanic organ, which is found on their legs. A tympanic organ consists of an exposed tympanic membrane covering an underlying air sac that has nerves connected either to the air sac or to the membranes. When sound waves hit the membrane, it vibrates, stimulating nerves in a fashion that is similar to the human ear. Insects can distinguish different pitches or various frequencies of sound, and some insects are even tone deaf. But enough about senses. Let's talk about another important part of the insect, wings. Insects were the first creatures on Earth capable of flight. With wings, insects could escape predators, cover more distances to search for food, water, mates, and colonize new areas. All flying insects, aside from flies, who have 1 pair of wings, hence the name diptera, meaning 2-winged, have 2 pairs of wings, one attached to the upper mesothorax and the other on the upper metathorax. Unlike bird and bat wings, which are modifications of pre-existing wings, insect wings evolved specifically for flight, perhaps originating as flaps that could extend from the thorax, allowing them to glide away from danger. The earliest flying insects had 2 pairs of wings that were always extended, even when the insect was resting. The wing pairs flapped independently of one another, like dragonflies in their primitive order. Advanced insects like beetles, butterflies, and wasps evolved means that linked their wings together, which is why they only seem to have 1 pair of wings, when in reality there are 2. When you look at an insect wing, you notice that they are laced with veins. The spaces between the veins are called cells. Open cells are the spaces extending to the end of the wing, while closed cells are the spaces fully surrounded by veins. When flying insects exit their pupa stage, like butterflies, when they come out, their wings are crumpled and useless. But as time goes by, the wings uncrumple and take the form of wings as you know them today. What is happening here is that the adult insects circulate blood through the veins in their wings. As air is pumped through the wings unfurl and straighten. The wings will then harden, and the veins provide both strength and a degree of flexibility. This action makes the wings capable of flight. Now, let's cover the mechanics of flight. Insect wings do not move by muscles pulling at the base. Flight takes place by using three types of muscles, two types of indirect flight muscles, and one type of direct flight muscle. The two types of indirect flight muscles are the horizontal muscles and vertical muscles. The indirect flight muscles are housed inside the thorax, and the direct flight muscles are located at the base of each wing. The two indirect flight muscles work alternately to elongate and flatten the thorax in a vertical direction. Wings, wedged between the upper and lower thoracic sections, are moved by leverage on a pivotal point called a fulcrum. When the vertical muscles contract, the thorax will flatten and the wings move up. Then, the horizontal muscles contract, pulling in the sides, elongating the thorax and making the wings move down. The smaller direct flight muscles adjust the angle of the stroke, which then adjusts the direction of flight. To summarize, vertical muscles contract, moving the wings up. Then horizontal muscles contract, pulling the wings down. Direct flight muscles alter the direction of flight. Insects have other uses for their wings besides flight. Wings can be used for mating purposes, mimicry, and defense. The way insects use their wings depends on the insects themselves, which can vary greatly. That's all I have for the thorax. Next time I will talk about the abdomen and other related anatomy. My name is Dr. Anton, and I hope you enjoyed this video.